This is Danny Flexon here for SecondsOut. Delighted to be joined by, and I've checked this morning, it's the 4th time, by Cheavon Clarke, Olympian, of course, and about to turn pro with Matchroom. We're here in Gravesham ABC in Gravesend, where it all began. How old were you when you first set foot in this gym?
Oh, no, I think I was about 20 in this gym, because there was a gym before called Elite, which is run by the same folks. But yeah, probably 20.
And what brought you to the gym initially? I know we've talked about this before, but not everyone would have seen the previous interviews.
The original gym or this gym?
Originally into boxing, so yeah, I guess at the Elite gym.
Just as young people in it, you're hanging around, and everybody started going to the gym and lifting weights at the time. And I weren't really into that. I thought there's better things I could do with my time. So I just tricked my friend one day and said, yo, we're going down such and such. Turned out we was going to the boxing gym. When we got there, it was like, oh. I was like, bro, you're here now. Might as well come in. And then it just went from there.
What kept you involved? How did you kind of fall in love with the sport or decide it was something that you wanted to pursue?
To be honest, it was the coach, Jason. He was, after the first session, he like came out. He was like, yo, Chevington. That's what he used to call me. He goes, you're good, you are. You could be a world champion. So as a young kid, you're just like, yo, this guy's lost his head. But yeah, he saw something that I couldn't. And yeah, he just kind of helped nurtured me to come here, to be where I am now.
I know you came over from Jamaica at the age of 11, obviously new life in the UK, and I believe your mum specifically has been a big inspiration for you in your boxing career. Just tell us a little bit about that.
It's just, I think anybody can relate. Especially single guys with single parents. Your mum just works as hard as she can, provides, do the utmost to make you have the best life you can. Even though sometimes they're struggling, they don't show it to you. They just, you know what I mean? But as a young person, I always had that emotional intelligence is a word. I recently learned that last year. Emotional intelligence, and like you could feel it. You can always feel it in the air. You know what I mean? So just seeing that. You know what I mean? In a foreign area, foreign country, away from anything that you would be used to as your culture, and she just took the bull by the wolves and just ran with it. And yeah, I turned out okay, I suppose.
I would agree, yeah. What does she do now, and how proud is she of what you've become so far?
My mum's still handling her business. We don't really speak about that, that's not something we speak about, but I'm sure she's somewhat proud. We don't really speak about stuff like that.
Not even when you went to the Olympics?
My mum said, I didn't even laugh about it, but my mum was like, yo, make sure you come back with a medal, That was it, bro. But yeah, we don't really talk about stuff like that. It's just, it's my journey, innit? Obviously, your parents don't want to see you box. Well, mine don't. My mom don't. You know what I mean? It's her son, So you don't want to... She don't want to... She obviously imagines the worst. But it's not the case, so...
Do you think she realises how big a part she's played into not just the athlete you've become, but the man you've become as well?
Yeah, most likely. She reminds me quite regularly. Yeah, so... Yeah, she's always like, yo, do you know how many times I had to push that trolley with you? The stroller with you. She always reminds me. So yeah, I'm pretty sure she does.
Now, taking you a bit further down the road, when you first got into boxing, you went to the Commonwealth Games, famously representing Jamaica, and obviously there was a bit of an issue there. You went out in the first fight, and I believe you took some time away from boxing. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Just took some time out, man. I think I've spoken on it numerous times, but it's just one of them things. It happened. It's just one of those things dealing with disappointment, and I dealt with it, and I came back stronger because I'm better off than I was then.
And you're always kind of keen to get on the GB squad. I know it didn't go great before the Commonwealths and you went obviously representing Jamaica, but was that a driving force, kind of proving the selectors wrong or improving yourself to make sure you'd get on a second time?
I don't try and prove people wrong. I just prove myself right and prove the people that believe in me right, that they were right to believe in me and that they're not wrong.
And what is the difference in levels, if you can kind of explain it to people out there who wouldn't know, from training at your local amateur club, even winning national titles, but then going to GB and the kind of round-the-clock training you do there and how it brings you on?
Yeah, it's a total different level. I mean, when you're at your local gym, you're doing your normal stuff, your day-to-day routine, and then you come to the gym, you fit your runs in around that. But when you are fortunate enough to get onto the team, it is total different. You're now a full-time athlete. Shout out to UK Sport and the National Lottery and the people that play the lottery, because they're the ones that help fund it, right? So, yeah, when you go on there, you're a full-time athlete and you train 3 times a day, run in the morning, session, late morning, mid-afternoon, and then another session in the evening. So by the end of the day, you're fully wired, do you know what I mean? You're tired and you go again the next day. So, and then also you have the international camps where you're sparring with the best in the world. You spar pretty much 2-3 times a week in Sheffield and you're sparring against the best in the world. So that's the reason why you develop so well. That's about it, really.
Do you miss it now you're not there? I know you used to room with Fraser and Galal, of course. You're used to that structure of having a nutritionist on site and strength and conditioning track work on site. It's completely different as a pro, I guess, but do you miss elements of it?
Yeah, of course you do, but that was that part of my life, and I just got to flip the switch and carry on. You hold those people dearly. You never forget them because they help you to achieve where you are right now, and you can never. I don't think you can ever repay them, but you're ever grateful, and you try to do credit to the work that they've helped to instill in you, if that's the right term. Yeah.
So you medalled at European Championships, European Games, the Olympic qualifier, of course. Out in Tokyo, went out in the last 16 or the round of 16. How much consideration did you give to hanging around for another Olympic cycle? You're, 31 now? It must have been a tough decision.
Yeah, you have to make decisions in life, and obviously, Sheffield is the best boxing facility I've seen in the world. There's very few that has better than that, and I'm talking the top of the top pros. So, it's a comfortable space, but who likes being comfortable? When you're comfortable, you're not growing.
But wanting that Olympic medal, did you ever think about staying on till 2024? Because then if you were going to turn pro, you would have been, 34 by then? It would have been a different kind of consideration.
I don't really look about my age, I hear a lot of people talk about my age, but I got good genes, so I'm not really worried about that.
But did you think about staying amateur until the next Olympics?
I think so. I think I did. I literally just came back and just chilled out for a while, just handled the situation. But I did speak to the team, but at the end of the day, I made a decision and just got to live with that, right?
What was it that kind of made that decision for you in the end? What were the main factors where you thought, right, pro's the way to go?
As I said, just being comfortable. I don't like being comfortable. I love being uncomfortable because it shows that I'm doing something right. You know what I mean? If you're doing the same routine every day, you're comfortable, ain't you? You're not really growing. You're not learning nothing new. You're not pushing yourself. You're not pushing boundaries. So, yeah, it's that, and I just believe that I have what it takes to be a world champion.
Is it something that you'd always dreamed of, even through the amateurs, where you start dreaming of the Olympics and things like that? Had you always dreamed of being a pro and winning a world title as a pro?
To be honest, I never even had a dream of going to the Olympics. So it's all mad. It's just as you do something, as I said, the coach believed in me, he said, yo, you could do it. And then I started doing it, and then I saw how good I was. And then it wasn't actually till 2019, I was like, yo, I can actually go to the Olympics. Went to the European Games, and then I was there and I was chatting to Galao, and Galao said something, and I was like, yo, really? I'm going to the Olympics. And then that was it. I was set on going to the Olympics. But yeah, in my head, I've always seen it. I've always like, world champion. Like do you know what I mean? It's not been a dream since I was a kid. I can't say that. But you know, growing into boxing, as I've grown, I'm like, yo, you know what? I can be a world champion, and I believe it. I mean, I'm not selling myself a dream. It's a fact. I can do this.
When you think about world champion boxer in the pros, who do you think of? Which boxers from the past or the present do you think, yeah, world champion?
Sugar Ray Robinson, Roy Jones Jr., Mike Tyson. And there's a guy called Jersey Joe Walker. Cold. Yeah, them guys.
And once you made that decision to turn pro, how did you go about deciding who would train you, who would manage you, who would promote you, all those sort of things that you don't really have to deal with as an amateur?
I didn't really see it any different to being an amateur in that sense. It's just, number one, you have to be around somebody that is knowledgeable, know what they're doing, has experience, somebody that you trust, and yeah, I had all those boxes ticked, so it was a simple decision for me.
And that's Sam Mullins, of course, who you're working with in South London at the moment. Have you known Sam for a long time? Is this a relationship that's been growing since before you turned pro?
Yeah, I've known him a while. I've known him a few years, actually. It's because of my coaches, my amateur coaches at Gravesham. They once I got onto GB, it was a thing of, they said to me, listen, we can't teach you everything in boxing. So what they started doing, they started showing me different clubs. They're like, go here, learn from this person, go here, learn from that person. And like me and Sam got on, and he used to allow me to come there and train whenever obviously I was representing Gravesham at all times. But yeah, that's it. And then the relationship just built. It was just a mutual respect, and you know what I mean, he appreciated what I did. He had respect for my coaches. There weren't no trying to poach or none of that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I was like, you know what, this guy's a trustworthy guy. And then it's pretty simple from there, really.
Tell us some of the kind of notable names you've had the pleasure of sparring, both at GB and since you've made the move.
Are we talking amateur or pro?
Both.
Sparred world champions. Man, I can't even tell you the names, bro. Like, I tell you, I sparred with Joshua Boatsy, I sparred with Anthony Yard, the Lawrence Coley's, Chris William Smith, John Ryder, yeah, Fraser Clarke, obviously, and just any of the international boxers on the scene that's been around, that's come to Sheffield. I've sparred with them, you know. So yeah, quite a bit of experience there.
I've had the pleasure of watching you spar Joshua Boatsy. Very, very high level work. You said you sparred like Lawrence Okoli, Chris Billam Smith. These are guys that are at the top of the sport at Cruiserweight, which is where you're going to campaign. What did those sparring sessions tell you about where you are in terms of ability and also in terms of stamina? So, because obviously they fight 12 rounds at the moment.
Obviously, I sparred these guys more when I was on the team. So, but yeah, I held my own. They held their own. It's just what it is in this sparring. You know, I'm not one of them people that think, oh, like you do great in sparring. Like, it's just what it is. It's sparring. It's not a fight. You don't get a belt for it. You're there to work on things, and yeah.
But you didn't feel kind of they're on a different level entirely, because I'm guessing if you spar high quality pros before you turn pro, it must make a dream of you being a professional champion more realistic.
Of course, if you, no matter what sport you're in or industry, if you hang with the best and you operate around the best, you're gonna develop yourself, ain't you? What they say, if you, what's it? You're the average of the 5 people you you hang around with. So it's the same formula, right? You're gonna be the average of the 5 people you spar with, right? So yeah, no, I never felt out of depth.
And promotional wise, I'm sure there were lots of people interested in, acquiring you, one of the more famous, notable names to come out of that Olympic squad. Why is Matchroom the right team to go with?
I feel Matchroom is the best promotional team in the world. You look at their shows, the way they operate, there's nobody that does it better. Speaking to Eddie, he was assertive of what he wanted to do, and I was like, okay, cool. I mean, seems a trustworthy guy. Nobody I spoke to had anything bad to say about him, so yeah, just made sense to do the deal.
Should have spoke to me. No, just kidding. I would have said nice things too. Yeah, I'll get sued. He said in the press release about your signing, he thinks you can be moved pretty quickly. How do you feel about that, and do you go along with that?
Listen, I'm just here to box. I believe in myself. Whatever Eddie and my coach says, let's go.
What do you make of DAZN as well as a broadcaster? Because for a long time, especially when you were doing really well as an amateur, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom were linked up with Sky Sports, doing great things together. Now they're 2 separate entities, Sky Sports with Boxer, Eddie's with DAZN around the world. What do you make of DAZN as a broadcaster?
They're fine. They're great. They're major in a few countries, right? So I think it's a great move. Everything's going towards the internet. Makes sense, really. And it's a great platform, man. If you actually dig it, I've spoken to a lot of people that work in the commercial space, and they recommended it. So, it only made sense to go over there, and I'm looking forward to boxing on DAZN.
And talking about the commercial space, you've come out of the Olympics with a big profile. How do you further capitalise on that as a pro? How do you get your name out there more? How do you get just bigger and bigger? Not as a boxer, because the boxing development, that's Sam's job and your job, but as a commercial entity.
Well, first and foremost, it just comes down to boxing and results that will help, and then whatever else comes onto that, we'll accept it. But I'm not trying to be a celebrity. I leave that to whoever wants to do that, innit? I'm here to box and get results.
You're an engaging guy, and you're going to get a lot more attention now as a pro from the casual space, certainly, than you did as an amateur. Is that something, you might not be embracing it, you say you don't want to be a celebrity, but is that something you can handle, you're happy about it?
Yeah, because I'll always be me. I'm just a genuine person, so it won't get to my head loads of people are following me or liking me. I appreciate the support, but it doesn't make me any better or any less of a person.
And what was the big thing when you decided to turn pro? Was there anything that you thought would be a big challenge, anything you were particularly worried about?
No, not really. No. The way I see it, it's just a few more rounds, right? Well, it could be a lot more rounds. It could be 12, but you get my point. You just prepare right, do the right things, do your due diligence, and you'll be fine.
How has that changed training-wise? Because obviously you told us what it was like at GB and fitting everything around. Is it similar now? Are you still training 2-3 times a day? How does that work?
Yeah, it's pretty similar now. Obviously train longer, but everything's pretty similar. Eat, wake up and rest the same. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I have everything under control.
And for people out there who may not have seen you box as an amateur, what can they expect from you as a pro? What's your style going to be like?
First and foremost, my style is Cheavon Clarke's. But, a bit of Mike Tyson, a little bit of Roy Jones. Explosive. I hit with bad intentions. And, yeah.
You're going to be a cruiserweight as a pro. All the cruiserweights in the world, professional at the moment. Who do you see as the number one?
Myself.
Excluding yourself? or who do you see as number 2 behind you?
To be honest, I just mind my own business. And that's not ducking or diving. I literally just mind my own business, isn't it? So just let them be. Let them do what they're doing until we have to... sort that altercation.
Bit of a left field one, but someone who's been competing at Cruiserweight recently, of course, is Jake Paul. What do you make of that whole kind of celebrity invasion, if you like, into boxing? You know, good for the sport, bad for the sport. Everyone seems to have an opinion.
Surprised, I don't. I don't have an opinion. Like, he's making money in it. He's found a way how to infiltrate the sport and make money from it. And I think if anybody else could do that, they would do it. So who am I to judge? I'm just minding my own business.
That is an opinion. That's a reasonable opinion. Yeah, I mean, that's a good opinion. I like it.
I'm minding my own business.
Opinion is you don't have an opinion. Good stuff. All right, before I let you go, and we've done this 3 times at least in the past, but tell people out there, in case they still haven't remembered, how can they find you on social media?
C4 CHEV on all social media platforms. Check me out. Just genuine guy. And every day I just go out and try to level up just like you.
Great stuff. Really appreciate it.